You have been awoken at just like the earliest hour because, you do the human thing, and unbeknownst to you, um, anniversaries just come and they come and they come and they come every year, and you might not even realize, like, oh my gosh, my body is like telling me something or communicating something to me. So today we're going to do something a little different just because it's September 25th, 2025, and I am truly finally ready to tell and talk about the story of my one of my first original soulmates, which was in this lifetime my fabulous dog Bailee Taylor. So, Bailee, I love you. You're the one asking me to tell your story right now because also in this big web of me showing you that the divine is like orchestrating something really crazy in my life, there are people who need to hear this story right now because they don't. This is like one story I have not talked about because it's like very recent trauma for me. Well, parts of it are very recently traumatic, and so I haven't really talked about like this publicly about like the weird spiritual situation that happened with my dog, and kind of like why we're here now as a Children of America tour, trying to connect with the people that we're connecting to. So I'm going to share the story of Bailee Taylor very quickly. Because it's like a really cool one, and Dennis and I are just kind of emo this morning because that's our girl, so we're just gonna do that really quickly. But anywho, in 2011, the spring of 2011, if you will, Taurus season, I was in the National Hispanic Institute, which NHI, which is basically just like a regional debate chapter. Originally started obviously for like the Hispanic community, but has like long since just become like the premier like Texas debaters. Like, it's not just Texas, but anyways. So, I was really into like debate as in high school, and so I did that for all high school. And so that was like another community that I was really a part of. And my debate coach, his name was Judon, and he was from Colorado. So long story short, another thing that I tack it on to the list of things that I did as a child. But it was my freshman year, and every weekend I would have NHI, which is basically like we go and we get ready for like our national competition. And so basically for me, I would go to the Austin Capitol every weekend, and just like I'd spend all my day at the Capitol, like doing politics, working in law, working like debating, doing crazy shit. So yeah, I was at the Capitol like all the time. It was like where I was. It's like where I would go. And one day after debate, Judon's mom flies in. My debate coach, she flies in from Colorado to visit him, but she's also bringing this like box of puppies. And these dogs they're like maybe like a week and a half old or something. And the problem is it's a pit boxer mix of puppies, and she just, I guess, it wasn't even like a breeding thing. Like, I think it was just like sometimes you just like, you don't get your animals fixed. It's like not really that intentional. She just had all these puppies, and she's like, they also, many of them had like birth defects and things. And so these were kind of like a batch of like unwanted puppies, kind of, but they're puppies and they need to like go somewhere. So she's like, all right, I'm gonna come to Judon's debate like team and just see how many of those kids' parents will like take home puppies. And of course, she brings in a box of puppies at the end of like debate for the day, like at the end of the day. And everyone is like buzzing, like, because in Austin, it's not gonna take long to find like these people here, they'll take home a dog. Like, we're a real shelter ass like city where it's like people really like will take in a dog. So good for her, but unbeknownst to me, like everybody was like taking like there's maybe like 13 or 14 puppies in this box, every single one of them flying off the shelves. And I had one of those black moms who was like, hell nah, we are not getting no damn dog, because my mom is like Cat Venus, like everything in terms of love is labor, and so she can't really see the value. At that time, she couldn't see the value of a dog at all, outside of just like the responsibility of one, which is valid. It actually comes from emotional intelligence. Like, my mom's actually very emotionally intelligent, so she's like, if you get a dog, you have to like really, it's dog's life. And I do really respect that. However, fate had other plans for us. So I'm like 14, 15. I'm 15. And I'm like, oh my God, I want a fucking dog. But it was like one of those things I grew up really like I said, like my mom was like, we were really poor, like really poor. So it was like, I really wanted a dog because I was just like looking at all of my other peers and friends, and they're like much more like affluent. So like for them, like when they asked their parent for a dog, their parents were like, oh yeah, we'll get two, we'll grab two. You know what I mean? These are just like free puppies you can just take. And so I was like, oh man, it doesn't get any better than this, because it's like adopt, don't shop. Like I'm not gonna fucking breed a dog, you stupid. Yeah, some of y'all are, but you know, so but this was even better than like for me, you know, if I was gonna have a dog, it needed to feel kismet. So back then too, like I guess we had iMessage, but for whatever reason I was like emailing my mom and my brother, probably because I don't know if I had an iPhone at the time, but I was like emailing them photos like Yahoo, like y'all look, like pick a puppy. But like every time I'm going back and forth, and my mom's like, absolutely not. I was like, I call her, I'm like, can I get a dog? Can we get a dog? Can we get a dog? There's like dogs right here, they're free, you just gotta take one, they're so cute, like can we please? I mean, they're just like this. I was like, Mom's like, and she was like, no, absolutely not. And I was like, Mom, please, like you don't understand, like I will take care of this dog, I don't care, like I want a dog, like I really. And she was like, Alexis, no. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna send you and Sherman an email chain, like please just look at these dogs. Of course, I send them the picture of the remaining dogs because they're kids. We're like all about to go home, so people's parents are like, "Give me that one." And I was like, Mom, you like literally need to make this decision right now, and you just need to like commit. But I'm gonna take one of these. Like I knew, I was like, I'm gonna just take one. And she's gonna have to deal with it. Like something in my spirit was like, I really didn't care. Like I really was like, Mom, I need to just get my hand in and grab one because they're all gone. Like I'm like, and if we don't get a dog, we'll never get a dog. And like I just felt like we're good people. Like I get like, you know, poverty consciousness, but like it's a family member. It's not just like so. And you know, Sherman's for it, but my mom is like, no. She's like, I can barely feed you guys ramen. I can't get a dog. Like, there's no way. So I send him this picture of like, there's maybe like 3 or 4 left. And my mom and Sherman are like, okay. They see the picture and they're like, oh shit, we want the one with the white socks, like the white feet. And like, that's the one we want. I'm like, so but by the time the email sends back to, I don't even, maybe I had a BlackBerry at this time. I don't know why I was sending like emails, but like by the time it got back to me, the one they had wanted that they picked, because I didn't pick. I was like, I don't care which one we take. I just want to take one. It's gonna, like at that time I was so like unconscious. I was like, what is it gonna make a difference? Like the whole time not knowing this is all like divinely orchestrated. So I'm like, okay, well that one's gone. So when I got the okay, then my mom was like, oh yeah, get that one. Like it had already gone, so I didn't even like break it to her that like it wasn't, like that one wasn't available. I just grabbed Bailee, which I just grabbed the one. I was like, I want this one that was left, and it was just this little black face, basically like auburn fur, just angel. And I picked her. I was like, no, she was the last one. And like I said, like the litter of dogs had like birth defects and stuff. So they were like not mentally there. They was like struggling. But Bailee I picked her up and I was like, oh my God, like it's you. Cause they were all cute. There's no, like, you see a box of puppies, you're not like, that one doesn't, it's like not that serious. So I picked Bailee up and I was like, whatever. As long as my mom was like, fine, get one. I just grabbed the one that I like, that was, because you know, it's just so tourist. Like it's tourist season, and I was just like, whatever presently like I feel connected to, I like just like got that one. So this all matters. So that day, tourist season, I came home and it was like, I had a puppy in my hands, and she was this big, and I was like, I just instantly like, I was so excited because I remember like with Bailee, like I said, like poverty consciousness, like, you know, we were told like Black people, we don't have dogs, like we don't need dogs, like it was like shit that I was told, and I was like, what? Like I was just like, you know, and it was like, no, because if we can't afford, and it's true, like if you can't afford something, like don't get a dog, but also like never let like poverty keep you from being who you know you're meant to be, because like I was raised in poverty, and I have no, like, I would never tell my mom, like, fucking give up on your kids, or, like, just drop them off at the adoption center just because your situation can and will change in your life. So it won't, you know, where you started with something is not at all where you end. And I'm just really glad that day, like, Sherman and my mom really wanted a different dog, and that one had gotten taken, because it's like, I was like, you guys have to hurry up. Like, I'm with a bunch of white people right now. Like, they're taking these dogs home. We're the only Negroes around here who are, like, because I'm just like, in terms of also getting a dog, it doesn't get much better than that. Like, you know, just the dogs being brought to you. It's like, that's when you want to decide whether we'll take one or not. You don't have to really have some bigger plan. It's just kind of like, they were free. They're like, you can have them. There's no, you don't gotta pay for anything. They're just like unwanted dogs. Like, that's the best scenario to like get a dog in. So I was like, Mom, it just seems like this is like kismet. Like, it just felt like, it's like, why would we say no? Like, yeah, obviously we've never done this before, but like, we should. And at that time, it was like, it meant so much with starting for our family in that next cycle of life with my dog, because Bailee, through the intention of her coming to our family by God, was trying to show us that the Taylor family, that at this point it was just me, my mom, and Sherman, so we had to get stronger. And if it was not for Bailee coming into our life at that time, she pushed us to keep pushing for like a capacity we didn't think we had, which I think is like really important to this story, because that's how it's like, that's who she was. And it's so weird knowing who Bailee as like her own personality as a dog ended up being, because you're hearing the story of how she was really brought into our family. It was kind of what we would consider random. Like, it literally wasn't even that like anyone wanted her, except for like, again, back to the story of how like I've always been mad conscious and obviously doing things from different levels, because like how this dog's life ended up is crazy. And like, considering like we almost didn't even get her, we didn't even really want her, well, not me, but the peanut gallery didn't even really, you know, they were trying to shop and choose, and I was like, no, this one's special, like, taking this one, you know, because she didn't have any of the qualities, like she didn't have spots or anything. She's just kind of like pit boxer, black face, you know. She's had a black face. I was like, that's a black dog, that's my dog, you know. It's like, she looked like me, I'm gonna take her. And so anyways, starts the journey of me, my mom, and Sherman like learning how to become a family and like find something to come together on. And if she didn't come into our life in 2011, which was a time when like many aspects of my personal family like were like falling apart, if she didn't come into that picture, we wouldn't have had something to like come together over. So that was really important. So anywho, Bailee's personality, I mean, chat, you guys can fill it in. Like, eventually one day under this video will be all the people who like actually know me in person, like in real life. And Bailee, she like, we can talk about the soul, we can talk about the incarnation, but she wants me to talk about her soul and who she really was. And in my dog's last life, she was an artist, a very, you guys don't know, but she was a very, very prominent artist with a very short life. I'll just say that. And the karma for incarnating into a dog has to do with you really needing to study how to do the human thing better. Like, you are, because dogs as a creature per God's divine design are like, their loyalty to man is very specific, but it actually just has to do with their learning. So for them, when you're getting prepared to do a better incarnation in the human realm, you have to study human behavior. And so that's why she was seated at what she was seated at. But she came home to my family, which has a lot of like past life, like big star guys in it, you know. And it was all really important, but that's what her soul really was. And we later found that out throughout like the duration of her life, like who she was and like what was going on. Because this dog was like a freaky dog. She was like a person. She was one of those dogs that's just like, I mean, people know this about boxers as like a genre. They're like very like, they're very like human attuned. Like their expressions are very like human in a weird way. So my dog was very that. She knew thousands of people. Thousands of people considered her dog. Our house, like I said, we had a very like ran through house. Guests every day, friends every day, 10s, 20s of people all every day. Everybody came over to see Bailee every single day. So this is a dog who like was very socialized with people, was very main character, was insane. Like, she's crazy. Like, my dog is crazy. There are parts of her, like, she was, I mean, obviously she got fixed as a puppy, like nothing wrong, but like, she like has no reproductive organs, and like her sex addiction, like, it's crazy. Like, Bailee was a humper, and like she doesn't feel anything, so like she had so much past life. Like, she was a very sex positive like soul. She like had such, she was like a very just like, her vibe was different. So she lived a very vibrant, colorful life, and it really worked because we were such a on the go family. She was like the center of our house, and just there will never be a chapter like those 12 years of our life from 2011 to 2023. Like, there will never be. That was the time where I feel like the Taylors were going to be, like, me, my mom, and Sherman, like, stabilized. And we actually, like, recovered. And, like, we if it wasn't for something that like really like made us commit to ourselves as a family, like when you lose like if the dad of a family gives you the last name, so we didn't have that, and we were so broken for so long, kind of just like Bailee just gave us drive. Like she made us like, we have to make more money, or we have to get more stable, or we have to like keep providing a bigger yard for her, or like a better house for her, because she just needs more space. Like it was like, sometimes you don't realize like as Black people, like God gives you gifts like that. Like you might think are for like white people, you might think are for like other, like, oh, we don't have dogs, you know, or there's just like negative connotations about Black dog owners who's just like bad breeding and like hyper aggression, and especially with the breed we had. And my mom is like, my mom is like ended up being a dog lover because of Bailee. Like it was just like, she didn't become one, she like remembered that about herself. So like animal rights is like a really big thing for me and my brother and my mom. Like it's really important that like, you know, we respect the animal kingdom, and it had everything to do with like what we learned from Bailee. And so I'm just really fortunate, because from 15 to 26 for me, like, you know, that's like rapid growth in my life, and this animal like signifies that journey for me. And yeah, so like I said, she was just the glue of like our family, and just everybody adored her and loved her. And like we could go on and on and on. There's like gonna be so many like Snapchats that come out from the local team, because they're gonna just be like, you guys don't understand, like Bailee is God's dog. Like Bailee was like, she really wasn't just like, she didn't belong to anyone, she belonged to all of us. Like we were all like, this dog is like a celebrity, like this dog is weird.
Like I saw it, when she, like anyone indiscriminately that was there, was
thousands of people in her life, she's loved.
Yeah, was loved. And
she's the type of dog that would just come up on anyone. She didn't care. Like, she was like, you're gonna love me. She was a licker, she was a lover. She was the best. So long story short, we had a whole long 12 years of life, but that's what she meant to the Taylor family. Now, why is she asking me to tell you the story of how she lived, died, and the afterlife? Because she's the one she's one of my biggest spirit guides. Her, Mercy, there's, you know, but she's one of my biggest like transition spirit guides. And because she was a guide when she like I learned that she's like showed me through her life and death and afterlife, but like she also was a spirit guide like in my family, like while she like even just the coming in. But it's really important for you guys to know, I'm the reason that animal existed. Like I created, like it was like she came home in my hands, and I was the only one who was like pro Bailee, like whatever. And her name is Bailee. I detested the name for so long because my mom just kind of picked it. And she was like, I just feel like I want to go ahead and name her after me and Sherman for the Lees. I was like, okay. So like she spelled it like some white hick, like unironically my mom's like Kaylee Jade, or like Braden Lee, like, you know, like she spelled it like Baile, like you should monogram this on your fucking Vera Wang. I mean, not Vera Wang, Vera Bradley, like, like it's so bad. Her name, it's like
it's totally see it written on a monograph.
And she was like nameless for so long because we just could not agree. And I hated the name Bailee. Which is why, like, over time, because my mom named her, like, not thinking about her soul. And I was like, Mom, you can't just brand her like Bailee. But it's fine. She's like, Bailee the boxer. And I was like, bitch, everybody names their boxer Bailee. Like, nobody, like, it's not good. So that's why her name is, like, it was dumb. But you'll hear me calling her Geeta and Bikita because it has to do with her real soul's origin. So good old Keith. But anyways, God. So the reason I'm telling you all of this is she was trying to guide me to a connection, and this person doesn't even know this story. So I'm going to just tell you guys the story because it all adds up and matters. So it's 2023, and there's all these really sentimental things that matter to me. Like, I know my marriage is ordained because all of my loved ones. Like, for me, it was really important that, like, the timing that Dennis decided to ask for my hand in marriage and, like, to, like, commit into a divine union, like, just was so kismet, because it was, like, all of our grandparents, all of our dogs, everybody who, like, knew me and Dennis at birth or, like, in youth was there to be like, yes, you both have changed so much. Like, none of us, like, our families have all changed. Like, things aren't really necessarily what they were in the beginning. But it was so special because it's like, no matter what, like, it really matters that, like, for me, like, especially with my elopement, it was more about having people who have witnessed the majority of, like, Dennis and I's life, approving, like, just being able to say, like, my aunt, you know, like, my Aunt Rose being like, dude, like, I've known Lexi since she popped out. Obviously, I know her from my perspective, but it's like, to see her now getting married, like, means that, like, the people that knew me and, like, were part of that community now know my forever. And so Bailee got to be a part of, like, she, like, I can't speak for other people. Like, I know it's, like, really hard when it's, like, maybe you don't have your life figured out in certain ways. And so, like, a lot of people in my family, like my brother, he doesn't know, like, if he's going to get married or if he was going to spend life with a partner, like, that person hasn't come into the story yet. So there's a lot of things that, like, I try to tell people, like, remember, like, get on your path, because, like, it's just, it might make a difference for you one day when you're like, man, I'm really glad, like, my family doesn't have to worry. Like, the Alexis that people got in 2023 was pretty much like the final form. Like, during our golden year, like, it's pretty much like what you see me doing right now is only going to continue to be built on. So, like, it really helped me with, like, grieving Bailee's passing, knowing that, like, she's like, Lex is good. Like, Lex is gonna, like, I know what I've already seen, like, all the things that she's going to be doing in the future type of thing. So that was really, like, so special. But 2023 was, like, so special. It was, like, all about us. It was definitely, like, the year we got married, and, like, everything was magic. And we got so many crazy gifts from everyone we love. And Bailee, that was, like, the year that she was ultimately going to end up passing. But, like, we were just so connected. And I kind of talked to you guys about, like, my relationship with, like, senior dogs. Like, I really learned that. Like, my favorite time in my dog's life was her senior year. She was so different. Nothing like, in a lot of ways, she was, like, as a puppy. I just really enjoyed learning from her. And I think, like, in a lot of ways, I realized, like, I'm a senior dog. Like, I'm, like, a grazing in the grass type of person. So it was just really special. And, you know, a lot of people speak on my, like, my unhoused journey and, like, how unstable I was. But, like, you guys don't know the trade-offs. Like, okay, so I'm not out here shucking and jucking for a buck. But, like, I mean, the last 3 years of my dog's, like, life, I got to see 100%. So, like, even though 2020 I didn't understand, like, why did we just get in this brutal car accident and have to leave New York and, like, have to come back to our families that, like, we just started this new journey. But I was, like, really grateful, because I wouldn't actually change 2020 to 2023 for anything, because I just spent it with my family. But, like, there were some lasts that were happening that, like, if it wasn't for, like, the Texas grid blackout, like, me, Sherman, my mom, and Dennis and Bailee and Monty all got to, like, spend that time together. Like, we just, like, that's weird. Like, when you're much older and you're not, like, little kids anymore. It's just, like, I've gotten a lot of really special moments in these last 5 years that you don't see, but, like, are, for me, like, well, I can't just say, like, it's not just the career sector. Like, I've gotten to see and witness moments that really mattered to me or to people in my family, and that doesn't always happen. Like, it's also, like, it's just moments where it's like, if someone gets married, or if someone, like, has a baby, or if someone, like, dies, or someone, like, moves and it's, like, a new upgrade. It's like, I saw and witnessed a lot of cool things that I don't think happen every year or, like, all the time. So it was, like, a lot of, like, being available for stuff, like, being available to see people achieve things, or, like, to celebrate people. So I can't really complain. And I try to, like, tell people to not speak too heavy on me when they're like, you're failing right now, you don't have anything, I'm like, well, I mean, that's only if the only thing worth having is $1, because that's just not the truth for me. I've had such an amazing last 5 years of my life, so it was really, like, Bailee really was a big part of that. Like, for me specifically, like, when New York, like, it was hard for us, because, like, we were like, we're doing the artist thing, what the heck, like, and then, like, learning that, like, God had a bigger vision about, like, trust me, Alexis, you're gonna want to see the end of your dog's life, as much as you can. And I, like, can say that, like, I'm so glad that, like, it arced back and I got to just, like, spend every day with my dog, before she died. And then she died, like, in my arms. So I'm like, okay, we're good. Like, I can't complain. I can't ask for much more. But now I have to tell you the heavy part of the story. So it's kind of a long story, but like, let's just say who my dog was in a past life has needed me to basically be like the liaison between like rights. Like basically like she didn't get to die with like dealing with the estate of who she was, or like dealing with like her legacy, or like really like speaking for herself in certain ways. So she kind of guided me through like different stuff, basically, like while she was literally living, and she was like aligning me to people. So it's summer 2022, and I've already told you guys, I mean, obviously, like it's not even like whatever, but it's summer 2022, and you know, I've been a locked-in Drake fan my entire life, not thinking anything of that. But like, it's when Honestly Nevermind dropped, and like Dennis and I at that time were like getting captured by like, I mean, I can genuinely say like every single Drake release that's ever come out, like I was like, yeah, you guys are gonna be like, what? How does this? Where do we get to Drake? I'm telling you, listen. But it's like every single Drake release, like I can tell you like where I was, what I was doing, and like how I was listening to that. But like specifically like in 2022, when like a lot of this like harmonic convergence was happening, I was like starting to see like, like I'm going from like objective fan that I feel like I just feel like the general OVO ting. I'm not thinking there's anything deeper there, like at all. And Bailee's the one connecting this, because who she was as an artist was trying to come forward, and this artist was like handling aspects of her old estate, let's just say that. And so the freaky part is, you know, when Honestly Nevermind dropped, it was like the beginning of the polarization of Scorpio. It was like the beginning of like people like, I'm about to do a smear campaign on Scorpio real quick, see if we can get off with like projecting violence and villains. So I'm not really thinking anything of it, but I just remember that record being like, so many people being like, what the fuck is this? And me and Dennis were, you didn't know this, but because I didn't even like, but we were opposite of that. Like we were like, this is the greatest dance record that has come out probably ever. We weren't even kidding. We were like, you could cite dance music starting right now. We were, and we have very specific, you know us, we're the vibe makers. So like, that was a big deal for us. We were like, that record, that's it. That was some money. That's it. It's like it was clear and clear. Like even Drake, I don't think he was like I think he was. I was like my nigga. Like it was like I think he even considered that. He's like, yeah, this is like my least conceptual. Like it wasn't like that. I was like opposite for us. We were like least conceptual. The storyline here is. We were like, we're in the new world. This is like, I was just so proud to have been a witness to this artist's journey because of that record. I was like, this is like phenomenal. And Bailee and us, we loved that record. Like that was like, you wouldn't have seen us, and then, but we really were like, yeah, more of that. Like in a way that, like I said, even the artist, I feel like he was like, it's fine, we're already on to the next. And I was like, you don't need to be on to the next. We could like stall out right here and talk about this for like 10 more years. Like that's how we really felt. And I just feel like, so PSA, like we fucking love that. It's like, you don't even understand. We weren't doing like archives and stuff at that time really. So like you wouldn't have, like, we don't have data for you girls, but like, yeah, during that time we were like, this is, so we were super stoked on it. We even had, like I said, we had a lot of battles and things. Like even like my own brother was like in the propaganda. It was like, what the fuck that. But it was all people who didn't actually listen to the record. Like I even feel like with Drake, like I feel like in certain ways it was like, it felt like from the outside perception, it was like, bro, look at this a little. Like you should stare at this. You don't have to like be like, oh, it's just like I had an idea, I just wanted to go into the genre. It's like it's so much more than that. Like.
Yeah, because I feel like the general response, I feel like was just it wasn't even about people like listening to it. They were I
just want to clear the record, because here was my take during the whole thing. Honestly Nevermind is the exact same production every Drake record has ever had. Like y'all are so insane for being like, he's never made music like this. I'm like, what?
When people's response was
what are you talking about?
Oh, this is like, I was like, yeah, what
are you talking about?
Doesn't have like
nothing was the same. You hear the same. It's the same. I was like, so it's like every single. I was like, this production is
I think, yeah.
I was like, first of all, y'all just don't listen to music. But I was like, this is all. I was like, I don't even know what y'all are talking about.
Drake's best tracks on my opinion, like Falling Back, bro. Falling, fucking Text So Green. There's so much on that album.
The whole album has no sense.
Yeah, seriously, like so much.
But it was also like Drake's most congruent project. It was like absolutely an obvious next step. I don't even think that's. I was just confused. You know, it's kind of like the same way that I'm like, even when you think about like Brat for Charlie XCX, I mean, it's just like exactly like what she's always made. True. Even though like in terms of public discourse, you could capture it a certain way. It's like she blew it up, or we all just really love this. But like the rudiments of like Von Dutch are like very much, the girl's going crazy. She's doing the fucking Leo thing every time, you know. So I just, you know, I felt like with that album, I was like, how does this not sound exactly like anything Drake's ever put out? I'm confused, you know. I'm like actually confused why you're saying like this sounds nothing like anything he's put out. I'm like, what? It's like, what? I need a one dance. Got a Hennessy in my hand. Like, what? Did you like actually listen to the like syncopated rhythm on that? Like, what? Like, I don't even know what y'all are talking about. Like, it's like, since he was fucking with Rihanna, it's been all the same sounds. Like, I don't even know what y'all are talking about. It's like, I really was confused. So anyways, so it started with Honestly Nevermind, where we were just like, our life was like, it was like the first time it was like, you know, Drake albums have always like changed my life in certain ways, but like this was like new, because I guess like, I don't know, like at that point, like me and Dennis were 5 years into our relationship, so we were in like committed relationship also status. Dropped
on our anniversary, or like the day before. It was like right around the same time of our anniversary. It was
okay.
It was like June.
Yeah. So it was probably another reason. Yeah. So it was like around our anniversary, so we were always excited. Yeah. And I think that's when I started to piece together. I was like, why is this person like always dropping at like significant times in my life? Like just synchronistically. And I'm not, at that point, I'm not saying like anything's about me, because I had no reason to think that. I just was like, I'm always in a good mood when this shit drops, because I'm good. You know? But it was really the start of me like consciously like waking up to certain things. So anyways, starts with Honestly Nevermind. We're having a good time. We still back to front with that one anytime. We're still like, if there was like a club night and the club is like, we're only gonna be open for an hour, we're just gonna play Honestly Nevermind top to front, and then we're gonna all go home. Like, we're not even gonna mix it. We're just gonna press play. It's I would be like, great. This is the club I can be at, you know. So whatever. I don't know. But also at that time, it's so whatever. That's just letting the record be shown that like that is like probably one of it. I can't even say our favorite. Drake is the type of artist that's like he's an I Am Presence artist. Like he really is like what he's doing now is his best shit. Every time, it doesn't matter what it is he's doing, it's like the best shit. Like that's like whatever, bro. It's like this isn't. It's like there's nothing to glaze. It's like he's a real artist. Like I don't whatever. So we're thrilled about that. But it starts there in 2022, and then that record, I mean, it carried us. It seamlessly carried us through. And this is when we started, like, we lost our home at that time as well. And we were feeling a lot of the, you know, and honestly, never the fuck mind, like, type of frequencies. At that time, like, we were trying to make roots in Austin, and then we were like, never the fuck. It was like, it was just so right on the vein. And, yeah, he started doing the Scorpio thing where he was gonna, like, facilitate the splitting of the worlds, obviously. So I was thrilled. I was like, you're doing everything right, spiritually, mentally, physically, everything's there. I was like, can't ask for much more. So that happens, and Bailee is obviously with us. We're good. At this time, we're all like living at my mom's in Avery Island, because we lost our house overnight because of the Texas storm. Like, we lost our house. It was like, no, it was a lot. So, you know, and I'm working for Seed at this time, and I'm about to quit because like the startup world. He was awesome. It's a company from the UK, awesome, right? He was working screen printing. So we're just like doing a bunch of shit, like side jobs, side quests, I guess, plot filling at the time. But we keep going, Stevie. Okay, so it doesn't even matter. So long story short, this all matters. So because of the success of Honestly Nevermind in our life and what it like started like awakening, that year there was really weird like I started getting I started really developing in my spiritual gifts. So I started like a lot more of like hearing and seeing was like coming. So that was the first year that I started getting this really weird prophetic download that Bailee was like, I'm about to bring you someone that is a part of your destiny that you don't know, but they're going to come through my life, like through the facilitation of my life. And this is when I'm learning stuff about her past life. It's like all connected, okay? So I started like really waking up after like 2022 and then going into 2023, and like a lot of like my highest timeline stuff was like showing. Like 2023 for me and Dennis was like a preview, basically, in like a small little sample version of like what our like identity really will be in general. So we were definitely, if you saw us in 2023 doing anything, like everything we were doing is like, it was like a time out of time. So Bailee starts leading me through, I'm starting to have all these like visions and dreams specifically. And a lot of them have to do with like what my dog's like showing me on as a spirit guide. I'm also starting to now build up the Virgo Saint archive, and Dolphin Boy was born in 2022, and all of those things. So it was a really big time, you know. Again, Tethered Studios was existing. It existed, but it, like, I didn't, like, at that time, it was really just a literary space. And so it being something that, like, propelled me in, like, filmmaking also, like, was something that I realized, like, I'm allowed to claim. And it came from, at that time, I started, like, filming Dennis's story. So I started, like, doing batshit crazy at that time.
Honestly, Nevermind was honestly so true to, like, what we were going through at the time. Because, yeah, like, the pivot, I remember it was, like, I just started at the screen printing job, and it was, like, a pivot. I thought, like, I was going to go there and stay for a long time. Honestly, Nevermind drops. And then I remember, like, it was, like, within, like, that same week or month, it's, like, actually the whole company was just, like, closing down. So then got laid off, and I feel like it was very, like, okay, honestly, never mind, like, we're going, and then, and
yeah, it's just, like, a lot of timeline collapses, right, basically, like, or just,
but I think it was more pushes to, like, do, like, to Destiny, like, to,
yeah, it was definitely, I mean, yeah, that's what I mean, like, harmonic convergence was happening. So obviously when those times happened, 1987, 2015, 2022, 2020, when those moments happened, like, energetically, like, that's what's happening for everybody. So yeah, we were not exempt from that in our personal walk at all. And I think it was, like, moving into, like, okay, now Dennis is, like, gonna look, like, at that point, it's like, we've got to, like, build a label. It was, like, Slumpy's 8th album, Light on Land, which was, like, a part of that awakening to realize, like, what the Destiny was, drops, and it was, like, the spark of, like, the film adaptation of that, and, like, our collaboration. So it was just, like, all this happened, literally, I can't even say just, like, because of this album, but it, like, kind of, like, it was, like, honestly, never mind on whatever we thought we were about to do. It's, like, it really was deeply connected to this, like, this record. And then, but I started having a vision, like this envisioning that, like, Dennis and I started having, like, very prophetic visions about, like, abundance specifically, like ancestral abundance. That was, like, obviously at that time, in the grand scheme of, like, my life, was very close to being, like, administered, but not, like, necessarily, like, I don't think I was ever, I was coming, like, I was too asleep to really even be thinking about, like, a spiritual ether, I guess, if you will. So I started getting, like, a lot of that, like, where it's like, here's, your family has, everyone in all the enslaved lineage of your family, 30,000 ancestors, they all had an ancestral abundance that, for whatever reason, was not, they did or didn't get to. And I think for me, just because I'm, like, of African descent, many of them don't, like, there was a long, deep, like, like, a lack of remembering of that, like, original royalty on the earth plane. And so at that time, I was getting really, like, heavily flooded with a lot of, like, ancestral, like, stuff. So anyways, my dog's connection to me at that time was, like, she was like, I know you think it's, like, random, but you were a seer. Like, when you picked me in that debate, you were doing something metaphysical. You weren't just, like, picking a puppy of what was left. And that was all getting proven because Bailee and I had intertwined destiny. So it's just, like, crazy because, like, she was the one, this album, it's like all of this is, like, it's like, that's why I had to film all of it, because it's just been, like, I can't even re-explain it to you. You can also just go back and watch everything that's happened in the last 3-4 years. But so that happens. So it's around, like, the holidays of 2020, like the end of, like November and stuff. And I started, it's like, and at that time, you know, I wasn't super tapped into a lot of stuff. Like I said, I wasn't really on social media. So, like, I also kind of, like, missed, like, the streaming, but I don't know. Like, there are parts of, like, for example, we're talking about Drake right now. Like, we really know him as an artist, but I didn't really know anything about, like, what he did. Like, I don't really follow people, like, on Instagram like that. So, like, I really didn't know, like, what people do with their day. I don't even know where people are. Like, to be honest with you, I don't know when people go on tour and stuff. Like, I don't know. I didn't know, like, it's all a blur. I didn't know. Like, I didn't know any of that. So I didn't know who people were talking to. I didn't know any of that, right? Especially in 2020. Like, since 2020, if you did anything from, like, pretty much, like, 2019 on, I don't really know what anybody was doing. I do know when you release a project, and that's all I listened to, but I didn't. So at that time, like, I didn't really know about, like stake or, like, gambling. I didn't know any of these things existed or anything. And so, like, it was in that winter where Bailee was just, like, had given me this really big download. It was like, there's a very large sum of, like, ancestral abundance that has to come through you. And I didn't really understand, like, what that meant or, like, where and why. But again, these visions and these situations and these synchronicities really started to tie in. And I started to have to look at, like, again, like I said, Drake is, like, not just, like, a artist that I, like, listen to whenever they drop, like, art, but, like, I had to, like, start, like, paying attention to, like, what are they, like, just, like, more of, like, what do they do, like, in their life? I don't know. So whatever. Long story short, she starts like, she's like telling me to like be looking, like she basically is saying like, Drake's about to do, you need to like pay attention to what he's doing because he's about to have like something that has to do with us. And I'm like, what? Also in that year, just so much stuff was like awakening. It's just like a,
22 is insane.
it was like a remembering of like who you are. It was just so much was going on. So Dennis and I had already kind of like figured out who we were in a past life at that time. We were like, oh. So then pretty much as it lines up, out of nowhere, which I felt like for everybody was kind of a big like move that was pro artist. Like when Drake announced that he had not only purchased Luna Luna, but that he was like intending to like bring it out, like not just like own it, like I want to like bring it out. You guys don't understand. So that lore will come out on another day. But long story short, that was the thing that Bailee was like, you need to be like paying attention to like stuff he says like on social, because I wouldn't otherwise, like I wouldn't have even known that had happened. So at that time she's kind of like bringing me to be like, don't pay attention to like at Champagne Poppy, like he's about to say something that like you need to see 40/40. Like I just saw this, like I'm like, what? Okay. So he announces Luna Luna and I'm like, oh shit. Long story short, Luna Luna has to do with Bailee, has to do with me, has to do with Dennis, has to do with a pocket full of ducks. I'm just like making it very plain and obvious for you girls. So Luna Luna is like on my destiny. Like that's not supposed to be managed by anybody else. So they announced not only that, like they announced that he has it, but then they also announced like they need a creative director. So here I go, 25, I guess. And I'm like, she's like, you need to, like, this is your job. Like you're supposed to run this. It's like a carnival you're supposed to run because it has to do with like, long story. So I'm like, okay. And this is new for me because, like I said, from up until this point, like I said, I've always subconsciously, it's like, yeah, I'm like, I mean, you can go back. Like, it doesn't, as soon as Drake's on the scene, like, I mean, I was present, like, whatever, you know, like, truly. So, I mean, this is, like, wild to me because, like, this is all about, like, waking up to, like, who I am, when, what day, like, it was a lot. So, with the Luna Luna thing, I was like, whoa, it, like, freaked us out because there's just, like, a lot more details about, like, the timeliness of like him and the artists that are affiliated with this capsule. And like my soul was like, Alexis, you know, because of your past life, what these original artists were intending for with this. And it's really important for you to make sure capitalism and just like money laundering and like art, like whatever, art laundering, like stuff like that doesn't actually ruin this particular very important like piece of work that was made very intentionally. So God had me channel in that moment, like what is actually supposed to happen to that. So I send it to the Luna Luna guys immediately. Like as soon as it's announced that they're hiring, I'm like, the job is mine. And I don't really even know how to say it because at this point I'm like, I'm sure they're looking for somebody with like 30 years of history working as a VP at Condé Nast or something like that. I don't have that. I'm 25. I'm just letting you know, like, this is something God has ordained for me to do. I don't know when, where, how, or why, but like I'm supposed to be the one running this fucking circus and reinstalling it because I'm the only one who knows what it's supposed to, like what's supposed to happen with it. Not even like what it started as, but like what is supposed to happen in the future. So I do the insane psychic thing, and I'm like, and you can see I have archived I have like at least sent in my whole ass application. And it comes with this very comprehensive, like, here's where it's supposed to be installed long-term, says God. Here's what it's supposed to go on to be. Here's all of this, right? And I'm telling these people dumb prophetic stuff that they're like, well, why is she, what? Like, because, like, they don't know, why would I know that? But also, like, my experience is, like, sketchy. And the only thing that I could, like, back up at that time that I was doing is, like, I mean, I had my, like, work history, but I'm also only, like, 25 at the time. And
I think we were 26 because it might have been, I think it was, like, a year.
I was not 26. You were 20. Maybe you were 26.
No, because when it was like Luna Luna was announced and you applied, it was
I guess I applied in February. It was February 12th of 2024.
Yeah.
You're right. So I guess this is at the end of 2023. Yeah, it was after we'd already come back. That's why we know. So end of 2023, Luna Luna was announced, and it was after we had our whole 2023 where we were like, we know who we are. Yeah. And so it all has to do with like once I was aware, I was like, oh. Like this, a lot of the art in there, like also like belongs to like my family at a soul level. You don't understand. Long story for another day. So So it was at the end of 2023 that it was February 12th, 2024 that I submitted my application. And that's the day before my birthday. And then the freakiest thing happened on February 13th. Aubrey Joy Graham drops the Rich Baby Daddy video. Super unassuming for you girls, right? Like, oh, ha. But it happens to be a video he decided to direct on a impulsive whim. Like, the way that he describes it is like, the girls had to trust me because I just kind of had this idea, and I was like, just show up, I'm gonna use a camcorder and we're gonna do this. So we'll have to get with them later, but I don't know like what part of that, like how, I don't know. But at this point it freaks me out because I wake up the next day to a video that is like verbatim. Like I said, I only have one childhood video and it's pretty much just the first day of my life, like the first week of my life. But in the video, like down to what people are wearing, like what my first house on Ramble Lane, like on South First, like looks like what my neighbors look like what the Texas, like the video is very freaky because if I were to like play the clip of like Drake cosplaying like a baby daddy, like he looks exactly like my dad, and then it's like Sexy Red is like giving my mother's. You guys don't even, you wouldn't understand because it's not your baby video, but it was like. I was like, what the because I wasn't understanding why this is all happening at one time. So I'm like, okay, so I guess like the biggest artist, musician out is like now being like, why are they, what? Okay, so then it starts to like really start adding up in my head. I'm like, why are, what? Like, what's the Philly, like how, what? It's like scary stuff, right? And I'm starting to like kind of understand how this is all connected, but like still not really. Then it gets even freakier because now we're gonna go. This part of the story that nobody knows. You guys want to talk about For All the Dogs? Let's talk about For All the Dogs. Mind you, if you want to talk about an album that me and Dennis like will be played at our wedding, will be an album that when we are 99 years old, we are like, this was the greatest anthology ever dropped. That from an artist that wasn't us, that For All the Dogs. We never talk about it. We don't talk about it. We don't talk about it. Again, another project where the people with the messiness, people were like, it's too long, it's too much, you're trying to do. We felt the opposite of that. You don't understand. But let me tell you why. So, Drake has surprise announced yet again. So I've been going through this year where it's like Drake's movements are like freaking me out. I'm like, what the fuck? And again, I'm not really on social media, so I don't really know. I probably would have learned this a lot faster if I was really paying attention. Like I knew he moved to Houston. I didn't really even pay. I didn't know like how I didn't. There's just so much stuff I didn't even see until way later. Like oh, like you know, and so. We're gearing up. It's September 2023, and it's like wrapping up to be the end of our wedding year. And Drake, out of nowhere, like surprised all this rumor, and then finally, like very shortly, is like, "There's another Drake album coming out September." That year he was announcing, and the original release date for this album that Drake is about to drop, right? We didn't know whatever. The first things that are leaked and are teased are one, Adonis, his child, his seed, does the cover art. What is the cover art For All the Dogs? A fucking ghost dog, a skeleton dog, channeled by his child. Yeah? Okay.
Just like
okay, just a black, right? That came out first. That was like the first thing that dropped. It was like
that year also was the same year my family's dog died, which also came at the same time as Bailee actually, and just the drawing looked just like...
Well, they didn't die at the same time, but she did die in the same year.
Same year is what I'm saying. And that drawing looked just like that, my dog.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it just, for me, it's not even about, like, it's an artistic interpretation. It's not about it looking like my dog. The point is, like, the cover art is a dead dog.
That was just synchronicity for me. That was like,
you
know, wow, yeah, it really does look like Molly. Right after she...
And I felt like, you know, so it comes out that there's, like, this cover art, and it's, like, the story is, like, oh, I just had Adonis, like, draw, whatever. Then the name For All the Dogs has come out. At this point, I'm like, I'm not thinking anything of it. But if you guys remember, the album was initially supposed to come out at the last week of September, right? And the whole thing was like he moved the release date only because Taylor Swift was also going to drop fucking whatever the fuck was coming out in 2023 for T Swiz. And so he was like, okay, I'm gonna move it just because like I don't want to conflict with that date. But it was spiritual for me because the original date at the end of September, that it was like the joy essentially of like enjoying a Drake's new project came. It was either the same day or it was like within the day or two of the day that my dog actually died. So it felt like, even though like spiritually it's like Drake is dropping this album about dead dogs and it's supposed to come out September 20 whatever, and then it's like, oh, all this blah 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 blah, we're pushing it back to like October 7th or whatever it actually came out in, early first week of October. And it actually felt like an observance of mourning because I had no idea that on September 25th, today, 2 years ago, my dog was gonna die in my arms. And I'll have to tell you like how she died as well because it's like very crazy. And so you have to understand this is very freaky because my mom goes on there's like one business trip that she has to go on. It's a conference that she goes to every year for her job with ACC, and they just basically like fly her out to somewhere crazy, and this conference is like crazy. Like that year Michelle Obama was going to be the keynote speaker at this conference, and so my mom's like always dreamed of seeing Michelle Obama.
No, Michelle Obama was actually last year that she went. It was
so I guess the year that she went, but it was in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So anyways, but she'd never been to San Francisco, so she was like, I'm gonna go to San Francisco for the first time in my life. And I was really excited for her. I was like, oh, you're gonna love San Fran. And she's like, yeah, I've never gone, but she's like gonna go alone. And so she asked me maybe like 4 months in the summer. We weren't really talking that summer at all, because this is like after my mom and I had like our falling out in 2023 because per her ex or her partner or whatever. And so I didn't talk to her, but she was like, hey Lex, like September 25th to the like first week of October, whatever, or first whatever, like that little week that she's gonna be on, she's like, would you mind like watching Bailee? Will you and Dennis watch Bailee for me, because like I won't be here? And we're like, duh, like the only like, yeah, we'll come stay at your house and watch Bailee, like duh, like I'm not gonna let anybody, like yeah. So we weren't talking, but that's the only thing I said. Mind you, this is 4 months before anything. My mom, September 25th, got a flight that we're gonna go drop her off at, or where, I don't know if she just left. I think she drove for something. I don't think we had to drop her off.
Yeah,
I can't remember whether we dropped her off or not. I think she just left. I think she just took like an Uber.
Oh wait, actually, didn't we drop her off? Because I remember we picked her up.
Yeah, I know we picked her up. I just don't know if we actually dropped her off or not.
Yeah.
But anyways, long story short, September 25th, 2 years ago, my mom is leaving for San Francisco for the first time. She has coordinated with us months in advance to come stay with Bailee. The spiritual part of that is like Bailee knew who she wanted to be there the day she was going to die. Yeah. She did not have my mom, mind you, my mom has never spent a day away from Bailee. Like, actually, that's not true. She's traveled a lot, but for the most part, my mom is like the person who, like, because Bailee lived at my mom's house. Like, even when I went to college, when Sherman moved out, like, that was where she lived her entire life. So my mom, it's so weird because there's never been a day that she wasn't there. Like, anytime Bailee needed anything, like, she was going to be there because she's at her house. And so the weird kismet thing is, like, the one time my mom is going on a business trip, like, which she just started doing the last 3 years, because of her new role, the one time she goes on a business trip, the same day my dog passes.
Yep.
So that morning, we're all together. That morning, I also lost my phone, which ended up not having a phone for like 2 years. I didn't ever get another phone. So that morning, I lose my phone. I'm stressed out. I'm like trying to leave my apartment, run to go. Me and Dennis are like, let's just hurry up and get to mom's house. Let's go see. We were like, let's just go in the morning early. And we go. It's like 7 a.m. And I'm just trying to get there early because I just want to spend time with like Bailee, my mom, and Dennis before, like in the morning before she has to go. And my mom's flight's not till like the evening, and she like lands in San Fran probably like 7 p.m. our time. So the really scary point is that like my dog died right as like my mom is like landing in San Francisco. So we spend a normal morning. Nothing is happening. Like Bailee's just like not even nothing. You wouldn't even know. Nothing. You would not know she was gonna die that day. Dennis and I show up. We have the morning we always have with my mom.
The rundown of just like what she does with Bailee every
day.
She's
like, here's what I'm going to do. Make sure you know this is when she needs to go to walk. This when she needs to do this. She's like, walk her twice, do the full, do this little loop. And then we know the loop, like whatever. Like, yeah, no problem. But my mom says nothing of like Bailee's health, like nothing. She doesn't even say that there's signs of like, she's a senior dog, but there's like, Bailee's like, the boxer and the pit never die. Like, they don't slow down. So she's, So she doesn't even give us any special anything, like instructions. She's just like, yeah, you're good. And so basically, long story short, my mom gets out of there probably like 2 or 3, like let's say like early afternoon. She's like on her way, whether we took her or not. I think we did drop her off and we came back home. So we go drop her off and we come back home. Everything's fine. We're like, all right, Bailee, you want to go on a walkie? And so like we get her, like harness her up. She even jumps up, ready to get on the harness, like she always does. So I put my harness on her. I'm like, come on, get your foot in. And we start walking down Avery Island. And I had no idea this would be her last walk on Avery Island ever in her life. And we don't even get far, bitch. We get to a certain place, and all of a sudden, Bailee just like sits down. She doesn't, nothing happens. She just like sits down. And my girl, I got so irritated. I was like, Bailee, get up, girl. Hurry up. Like, get up. What is you doing? She just like sitting on the, like, she just sitting in the sidewalk. Like, she didn't even, I was like, Bailee, what? But then I looked at her and I could kind of tell, like, she was in a different realm. Like, her eye, she was just like glazed over in some way. It was like, she's not. I'm like, she's seeing something different. She's not seeing like the neighborhood and that she's like,
yeah, she wasn't responding to like where we were.
She wasn't responding to where we were.
Yeah, like she just sat down. She wasn't getting up. It was like
nothing. And so this is the part. This is September 25th. This is like the beginning of the transition, which I know now. And so basically from then we had like a pretty much 3 hour. We're like 2 blocks from our house, so we're not far. Like you can see the house, but we
get her to the house.
But she wouldn't get up.
Had to pick her up.
Yeah, so it's just like we were realizing. I'm like, Bailee, get up. And then it's not like she has to poop or anything. It's like she's like, wait, she's just like not getting up. Like and I was like, okay, Dennis, I think she might just be like super dehydrated. Like she might listen. I don't know. Maybe we like she needed way more water before she went on. So I don't know. So I feel bad at this point. I'm like, oh shit, like Bailee, really? So I just like, okay, then she's not getting up. You're gonna have to carry her. So and Bailee's like 80 pounds. This is like carrying this big sausage back to the house. But on her way to the house, she's like,
yeah, just like,
but she's just like limp. She's not like, but she's not in pain. She's no crying, nothing. She's just silent. And she's kind of just dazed. So we get back into the house. I'm like, okay, Kita, like, get some water. Like, let's get some, whatever. So then I'm kind of like, okay. And then we start monitoring her. And then she starts doing all the classic signs that they say, like, when you're about to transition. So we let her outside to go to the bathroom. Because I was like, do you need to, like, you didn't use the bathroom. So, like, go outside now. So we go to the backyard. I let her out. And my mom had a huge deck in her old house. And the problem with the deck is, like, there's stairs to get up. But, like, she just like wouldn't come back on the deck. Like she could just like Bailee, come on. And she's like not doing it. I'm like, dude, like
pick her up again to bring her up.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, like come on, like get it. So we pick her up again and bring her back in the house. I'm like, what's going on? And then I started to, my intuition's like starting to prepare me because like I'm gonna have to do like some medium shit. Like I'm about to like help this dog transition, and I didn't really realize that. But I'm starting to say all these things here because I'm just like, okay, Bailee. And so I kind of get frustrated with her because I was like, Bailee, whatever is going on with you, you need to make yourself comfortable. I started like screaming. I was like, you need to advocate, okay? You need to like, whatever you need, like you need to like make sure you give it to yourself and like take care of like what you're actually gonna need if you're going through something like unique right now. Cause she's just like, there's nothing happening. Like she's just like, nothing is happening. She's just like seated, like not doing anything. Anyways. So then she starts doing the thing that dogs do, which is like if your dog's ever about to transition, if your house is familiar to them, they're going to start doing the perimeter of the house. Because they're basically revisiting everywhere that they live their life. So she's just like going around in every room. My mom's office, she's going around, coming out. She's going around the perimeter of the room. She's going to the dining room. She's coming out of the dining room. She's going to the kitchen. She's going out of the kitchen. She's coming. And I'm just like, oh no. So I'll spare you guys the details of like watching your dog's body like break down and like, but basically like we just watched her spirit leave her body. And sorry, take your last breath. It's the most traumatic thing that's ever happened to me because my mom, do you understand what it's like when someone has you dog sit and you kill their dog? Yeah, not a good feeling. Not a good feeling. Not something you want to call somebody and say like, hey, I know my mom is still on her flight to San Francisco. She left her dog. There was nothing wrong with her. And now I'm going to have to call her and she hasn't even landed yet and be like, Bailee's dead. Dang. So it was like a whole.
Also, Pam, I remember it was specific because that earlier in the day, like we're thinking we're just gonna take care of her, and then her aunt calls and is like, "Hey, if y'all need me for anything, like I'm around." But we were like, "Why would we need?" We're like, "We're gonna be fine, so we don't need." But then.
Yeah, backstory on Pam. She's like a heavy medium, she's just an Aquarius, like my Aquarius, like psychic aunt. So she's just very in tune, and she's very good. She really does help with like death transformations. Like she typically, like in our family, she doesn't really do anything but like clean up dead stuff, like pretty much, like kind of like that's her vibe. And she's really someone that's really good when there's like if you ever like if you're like bleeding out, if you got like shot or something, like she would be a really good person to like be there for you. If you need someone to go like murder someone for you, like she would be a really good person to call, because like she's like kind of like the bounty hunter of our family. So she did call us earlier that day, and she was like, you know, because she has that connection with me. We've always had that connection. She's like, Lexus, like if you need anything. And I feel like my whole life she's always really prompted me to like move into like the esoteric side of myself. Like, don't like forget, like, you know, like we was doing the Ouija board. Like, I know you're my niece. Like, you know what we on. You know what I mean? Like, so she's always been very like, you know. So that was definitely something else. It was just like I said, there's a lot of like, you have to not keep looking at the third dimension, because that day was like one of those days. So yeah, by like 7:30 p.m., like she died right where she used to lay every day in the kitchen. She just fell over, and you know, I called my aunt, and she was communicating so much with me. She was like, she hated the vet. I was like, I'm not gonna freak out about this. She's a 12-year-old boxer. Boxers aren't even supposed to live, like, I mean, they don't really have like a long life expectancy. Pit boxers, they don't. So my dog already made it like 4 or 5 years past her like expectancy, like calmly. Like my dog was never at the vet, was never sick, like never nothing. So I was like, I'm not about to ruin her last day. Like, she's safe. Me and Dennis are here. She's loved. If it's really time for her to go, like, I can't stop that. And I'm really glad I had that perspective, because it just saved, first of all, like money and time for medical professionals. I think a lot of people are in non-acceptance when like, you have to be able to know when like death is gracing you like in a blessed way. Like, you have to know, like, because Bailee in dog years is like 90. Like, you have to know, like, if you make it to 90, like, are we always trying to like, can I get 30 more minutes? Like, can I extend their life? You know, it's like, you know, and I just had come to like a lot of peace, because I realized like she planned all of this. Like, she only wanted me and Dennis there because Sherman and my mom could not have handled her death. Like, when I had to call my mom when Bailee died, she screamed and wailed. It was the worst day of my life, mostly because like my mom is traveling alone and about to get the news that her best friend, my mom's best friend, is dead. Like, and she did, like, the worst part is that my mom has never missed a day of my dog's life, but the day she died, she wasn't there. It was really hard, like really hard for me. And I just felt like, you know, the universe like moved everything out of the way. Like, the universe knew how much I would love that Drake record and how much I probably really would need it to like get through my mourning phase. And just the fact that the record alone is like, this one is for all the dogs. And like I said, we both lost our childhood dogs in the same year, but it was just like Bailee was like dying like
to witness
in our hands. Like, we were watching her die, and then Drake like is like, I'm gonna postpone the album. I'm not gonna do it the same day that your dog's actually gonna die. I'm gonna push it back a week. And I just am so grateful that like whatever cosmic force did that, like he didn't do that for me, obviously, or whatever, but it felt like weird, like, you know, because so many people were in on it. Adonis, Drake, like everybody was in on this project that like changed my life. Like, my dog dying like was
such a
that was
transformation.
That was like it was a lot. It's still a lot. Like, that's why I haven't told the story for 2 years. I've never told anybody that like for all the dogs like did that for like, it was freaky. Because my mom freaked out. We were all freaked out. Like, Bailee's dead. And, like, she died, like, specifically. She only wanted me and Dennis there.
Yeah. And the way Bailee just has stayed, like, like a spirit guide, like, communicating. Because even this morning, like, I woke up, we mentioned Bailee last night. I'm, like, posting pictures of her because I was...
This day never comes and goes without us feeling her.
Without even realizing what today's anniversary was. And then it's like, oh, man. Like, yeah, she's, like, just definitely always communicating.
And last week, when Dennis and I were putting like $7 in our tank of gas, this woman at the gas station behind us is like, how much to fill your tank up? And I was like, oh, you don't even have to do that, because I wasn't even like throwing the $7 in because I was broke. Like, I was actually going to go buy the pack, and like, I'm like, I don't have anywhere to be. Like, so I was like, no, like, you don't, like, it's not even what you think. Like, we're not even like really actually out of money. Like, we only had, I was like, we're not even really penny pinching. Like, also sometimes like at the gas station I'm at, they give me like their free ice. They let me fill up my bottle for free. So actually the reason I went and put gas in, like, I just threw $7 in because I wanted them to let me like go use the free ice. So I was like, oh, I was trying to explain that, and she's like, no, like, how much fill you taking? I was like, well, we just put like $8, and so it's like probably gonna be like $20 more to fill it up. And she was like, no, can you let me do it? And I was like, yeah, of course. I was like, I mean, sure, of course, I'm not gonna stop you from doing that. And she was like, to be honest with you, I'm having the worst day of my life ever, and the world really sucks right now. And she just starts like crying, and life sucks right now. And I was like, whoa, we just had the worst day ever too, because it was the same day that my family, like my parents here, had like basically like kind of kicked us out as well, like so it was like, dude, thank you. And in that moment, I heard God say, exchange names. So then I stopped her because she wasn't even gonna ask. She wasn't gonna ask any more details. She was just gonna do it. She's like, okay, what pump for? Okay, great. So I was like, what? And I wasn't even gonna say anything. But then God was like, exchange names. I was like, excuse me, like, wait, can I get your, like, what was your name? And what is her name? Oh, my name's Bailee. I said, that's okay.
Right.
That's why God asked me to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, but God said exchange names. And she didn't ask me for mine. I was like, okay, well, pause. I'm going to let you know. And so I just kind of interjected. I was like, my name is Alexis, and this is my husband's name. She goes, that's my sister's name. Okay. I was like, that's why you need to, like, listen to God and, like, because this isn't just, like, a random synchronicity. Like, she needed to know that, like, this is connected to her, and the synchronicity of just giving right now was guided. And I needed to receive that and know that Bailee was like, Alexis, something really huge about coming. This was like 5 days ago.
Wow, and just the way that tank from the last 5 days, like, we
God is
spent
to
the
right
last
now.
5 days, like, really driving and really just, I feel like, transforming every drive we took.
And so in recent days, we've been really, like, Bailee had, like, that full tank, every single day, we've been, like, basically, like, driving out to, like, small Texas towns that we need to be at, just to, like, stay in the flow of the tour and still, like, stay really ready that, like, you're gonna be driving and walking and driving and walking and just being, like, you know, getting in the groove, because we're really, like, about to do that leg of things, you know. And it was all because of Bailee, like, literally the lady, Bailee, who did that for us, but also, like, Bailee, my dog, who's like, I'm the one, like, looking out for you right now. Because there's just been some unfair things that still, unfortunately, keep happening, even though we're, like, God has shown all the evidence, God has exonerated me, and, like, you know, people are still just in their cycles and they're trying to, like, figure out what's going on, you know. So yeah, that's, like, the story I've never told anybody, because, like, people don't understand. For all the dogs, like, helped me mourn the death of, like, the only dog I'll ever have. I won't have another childhood dog ever. And so for me, that album literally got moved from being dropped, because if that would have dropped the day that I had to, like, transition my dog, I would have never listened to it. I would have never, it would have